How you doing, man?
I'm doing
What's
good.
up? See, I've been seeing you on Instagram. I couldn't remember if we actually met like at an event somewhere or something, but
Yeah,
great
I
to
know.
meet you.
I feel like it's one of those things when you run the same circles and you're like, I feel like I know you, but we haven't made it official yet.
Yeah.
So this is our official, like,
For
I know
sure.
you now.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
I saw that you just performed at the Norva for the first time at BJ Griffin's show. How was that?
Yeah, that was incredible. That was incredible. Definitely like one of those moments as an artist that you hope for. You know, you go from performing at the open mics, you know, in the small crowds, and you don't know if your music's even hitting like that, whether or not you're making an impact, and then you get an opportunity to perform on a stage that you walked by ever since you were a kid and you weren't old enough to actually get in there yet.
Is there an age limit for the Norva?
Most shows, I think, are 18 and up.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually never even been there before.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so you got to make it happen.
I got to go. It's been a few shows like out there. I don't know, because I feel like for a while, people weren't really doing stuff at the Norva.
I know they got that Timberland, they got some sort of like Timberland
Timberland
tribute
Way
thing going on at the Norva on the 18th. So that might
Okay.
be a good time to swing through.
We'll see, because I know I'm excited for that weekend. There's like a few things happening on like the Saturday and Sunday. We have a pod on Saturday, so I probably won't be there for that if it's on Saturday. But I know there's a panel, there's some type of panel happening on Sunday. I'm trying to make it to that.
Okay, let me find out about it. Send me the info on it.
Yeah.
I'm terrible at keeping up with what's
events and
going on.
stuff?
Yeah.
There's
Okay.
been a lot like of more events happening like locally.
Yeah.
These past like 2 or 3 years, there's actually been stuff to be like proud of out here. Like if you're inviting friends, like I try to invite some of my friends that don't have anything to do like in the creative space out here, and like they actually have a good time at this stuff too.
Yeah. I agree. I think there has to be some intention about inviting the non-creatives to the creative things. I think sometimes we oversaturate it with our creative selves. You invite all of your friends, those who perform. Like even with the Norva, you know, I'm inviting people and they're like, oh, I already have a show, right? So having a bunch of creatives, we got to step outside the box and make sure that those who actually enjoy the creativity.
Yeah. Well, we enjoy too. I think it's great for us to be there. Obviously, we're like the core fan base of it. But I always say like I don't think any of us creatives honestly have done a great job at marketing our stuff to the general public out here. There's so many people out here that will like be fans of your stuff, but you got to figure out how to reach them.
Yeah. That's a big step. Big pieces to the puzzle. I used to be a teacher, so I always think about kind of like, I look at things in like a lesson plan format, like how to like scaffold and like build. And so I'm in all these conversations all the time about the state of the music and creative industry in the Virginia area. And so being a country music artist, but being a Black country music artist, it puts me in all of these different pockets, in the folk pocket, in the singer-songwriter pocket, in the hip hop pocket, in the pop pocket. Like I'm constantly having these conversations with people across the board who don't necessarily know each other, but it's always like the same, like all of the things that we need to have a well-oiled machine when it comes to the music industry here in Virginia. And marketing is definitely one of them.
You said you used to be a teacher?
Yeah.
What'd you teach?
Spanish.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I feel like I didn't expect that. So are you like fluent in Spanish?
I should be. My neighbor would get on me. She's Cuban, and every now and then she'll catch me. We were just picking up the kids from school the other day. And so she starts talking to me, and it had been a little bit of a while. She's like, Roberta, tú estás perdiendo tu español. You're losing your Spanish. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
What did you teach, like middle school, high school?
I taught high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you would expect for you to be fluent in it.
Yeah.
When my girlfriend used to be a teacher actually too. Was it one of those things where because I know like sometimes like for her second teaching job, they actually put her in some like other things. She didn't go to school for teaching. It was like some other like thing was like business or something. Is that they placed you in Spanish or you picked Spanish?
No, I picked Spanish. I studied Spanish when I was in school. I studied abroad, all of those things. It's just one of those things, if you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah.
And not really having, doing music full time, like I'm at home all the time and all I do are emails or, you know, social media or whatever. So who am I really getting a chance to constantly practice with, you know? So every now and then I'll chat it up with my neighbor and just have to like kind of get back in the flow of things, you know? If it's if it's something that's said to me randomly, it's hard for me to pick it up. But when we're in a contextual conversation, then I keep going. Like, oh, how are you? You know, you kind of go back and forth because my brain already knows what to expect. But if somebody just says something completely out of the blue, it takes me a while to kind of register what's going on.
Also, I feel like it's different when you're like the way you learn really any language in school is not how people usually speak it on the streets. It's like you learn this like formal way, and then it might be hard to pick up on when people are just speaking like slang or something. I can imagine the people that learn English in school and they come here and they're like, what are they saying? Like, they have all this slang stuff.
Especially, I mean, like every state might as well have its own language because New York compared to Texas are completely different dialects, two completely different things.
Yeah, I feel like America is so big. Like we think about it. It's like you go to Europe and it's all these countries, but they're way smaller than a lot of our states. And they're whole different countries. Yeah. But then we think of America as this one unit, which it is how we try to be united. But it's every state is so different.
Yes.
It's actually kind of weird.
Yeah. It's very interesting, which is what makes America very unique. But it definitely is an anomaly in a sense. Because you could have like different foods, different dialects, I mean, obviously mostly English, but I mean, there's plenty of spaces in the U.S. where you can go in Chinatown or Little Havana or something like that. Nobody's speaking English over there.
Have you ever heard how in some of these Chinatowns in America that there's they have their own like police and Chinese like people from China will send over like spies to live in these Chinatowns, really? And they'll be kind of like spying on what's going on, reporting back to China.
Oh wow.
That gets a little shaky.
Yeah.
But okay, so imagine. You mentioned you're a country singer, songwriter.
Yeah.
In your bio, it says you're also like a playwright and an author. I want to get into all this. You have a new album out, Too Much of a Woman, which you just dropped the exhibition version.
Yeah,
I'm thinking that's kind of like a deluxe type thing, right? Yeah. You have a tour coming up. I want to get into all this. But I guess maybe we can start with like just how does your journey start in this creative stuff? You said you used to be a teacher. Yeah. Now you're doing music full time.
Yeah.
What does that look like for you right now? How did your journey begin?
So I probably was always a creative, always doing something, always painting. I used to make jewelry. I used to write plays and skits. So give me something to create from out of nowhere, and that's the world I live in. So music was always just a given. I guess I would have to say a lot of it starting when I was going to church when I was younger. They would give us lots of opportunities, like different outreach events, and they would need bands and they would need music. And so that's where I really started songwriting. And just the feedback that I would get from people. I remember it being, I'm like, well, number one, this is a ministry. So like I do it for the church. And then folks would ask, like, they're like, do you record your stuff? And I'm like, what do you mean record it?
Why would I just do this for the Lord?
Yeah. I'm just like, you know how it is. Like you just do, I didn't think much of it until more and more people were like, I really like the song that you just did. Do you have it recorded? And so that started to get the wheels turning a little bit. But you know how entertainment and like creativity is, no one really breaks it down in a way that is sustainable. You don't, when you go to school, you go to college and they give you like the path that's already beaten. Like you go to school, you get your degree, you get a job, you get married, and all that kind of rolls out. And pursuing creativity, pursuing music didn't seem like it was a clear cut.
There is no path.
There is no path.
To me, that's the, not to cut you off. To me, that's the struggle of it. That's the hard part, but it's also what keeps it interesting.
Exactly.
There is no path. Part. Everybody's path is different. You could copy exactly what somebody else did
and still
not get those results.
Yep. And so that's what was uncertain to me. So I'm getting all this like, oh, we love your music. You should record it. And I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. This path doesn't look clear to me. But it was something that was on my heart. And I'm just like, well, I guess if I ever had the opportunity to, I would. So, you start doing the things. You start going to open mics. You start putting yourself out there. I finally recorded like a EP way back in the day when I was trying to figure out what my stage name was going to be. I'm not going to talk about what that is. But just doing all sorts of different things and just kind of putting in the work. And investing in myself when I was teaching and making money, of course, I would get a chance to maybe record something or take pictures or whatever. And so I would say that everything really started to take a change around COVID kickoff, I call it. Like everybody with their business, whatever COVID either or made you or broke you, in that time frame. So around COVID, 2019, I remember I had a panic attack while I was at school, while I was teaching. My students were coming by the door, and one student looked at me. They're like, Miss Walters, are you okay? And like the guy radioed, next thing you know, I'm in a wheelchair, and my husband has to come pick me up. Like I had a panic attack. And
did you have those before? Was that the first time?
No, I never had a panic attack like that. And I attribute it to, I kind of call it like my inner child having a fit. The genuine part of us, that person, that authentic person, where if it wasn't for bills, we wouldn't be doing 9 to 5. We wouldn't be doing those things, right? We would be in our little happy place doing whatever it is that we want to do. And I just felt like my spirit was having a fit. Like if I don't take the chance on doing this to at least figure out what's on the other side, then I'm going to be very mad at myself. So we devised a plan. My husband and I, we were like, okay, we have a little bit of debt over here. Let's work together to knock this down, and let's devise a plan and see what life could look like if I were to do music full time. And we were like, okay, let's give it 5 years and then evaluate when after 5 years are up. So 2020, he hit the pavement. He's in real estate, and so when most realtors thought that nobody was buying, he was on the phones every single morning, and we knocked out all of our debt in 1 month.
Doing what? Flipping houses?
Selling, representing buyers and sellers.
He's an agent.
Yeah, okay, he's an agent. Yep. And so he was working. I was still getting paid as a teacher because of my contract. So even though we were out for a little while, I was still getting paid. So we were taking our money and we knocked out our debt so I could step away from teaching full time and really focus on my music without it being a strain on us financially. And so that kind of is really what got the ball rolling. 2021 came around. I got a grant from Color Me Country Radio. Shout out to Reese Palmer. And I was able to make my first country record, Just a Taste, and just have a product to put out, really.
Can you go a bit further into that grant? Like, how does that work? Like, if somebody's listening to this, how could they do that? Yeah,
so Color Me Country Radio was founded by Reese Palmer. It's on Apple Radio, and it's named after Linda Martell, who was the first Black woman to chart country music records in the 1960s. Please don't quote me on that, but playing the Grand Ole Opry, etc. And so she had an album called Color Me Country. And as you can imagine, Black woman in the 60s, it was very difficult to break into that space, and she only had success so far, and until she retired from music. So Reese Palmer started the Color Me Country Radio to highlight and to talk about the range of artistry in country music, the history of country music, the influences of country music, whether it be Black, Indigenous, Hispanic influences, etc. Like kind of just talking about this range of country music beyond the box that the music industry puts it in on the radio. And we can see that it's very easy to throw something like country music under the bus, but it's, music industry now, like even when you look at hip hop, it was a very distinct movement when it came out, and now it is industry.
Watered down.
Now it's watered down. Now it's packaged. Now it's, you know what I mean? So I feel like a lot of music genres across the board have had that experience. And so Color Me Country Radio, they had a grant with the Rainy Day Fund, just for artists, just $1,000. You're getting started in country music. So
you applied for it with no previous music out.
I had a single. Yeah, I had like a single or two, and that was what's funny because I didn't call myself country, but I would put this music out, and people were like, "Oh, Roberta released her first country record," or blah blah blah, and I'm like, "Why does everyone keep interpreting my music as country?" And then I'm like, "Okay, I guess it is because it's for the listener."
It's funny to me too because I think about that in hip hop sometimes too. Like I feel like at the core of hip hop, how it started, it's so far from what it is today.
Yeah.
It's became this like party, kind of like doing like degenerate stuff, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, and that's like the theme of it. But it started out as this conscious movement of people getting like knowledge of self and building communities.
Yeah,
and
community and the truth
and the
stories.
Yeah.
So like if you look at hip hop now, where you know, I teach kids songwriting at Yellow Pharrell's school.
Oh wow.
And you know, these kids, you could tell they love hip hop, and you know, they, not them in particular, but just overall, you know, hip hop. Somebody's interested in, it's like, oh, gang and growing up on the streets and and it's a misinterpretation of the foundation of hip hop. Like they were telling a story. Yes, I did grow up in these places. Yes, it was rough. Yes, my friend did get shot. Like I'm not just making this up to sound like I'm hard. Like I'm telling you a story.
They weren't glorifying it.
Right. They weren't glorifying it. It is simply a story. It is simply a lesson that you learn from. And the truth of humanity, the truth of our history and the things that we come from. And if you listen to old school country music, you get a lot of parallels. Like you listen to somebody like Johnny Cash, like, and or you know, some old school country artists that have songs about them shooting a man and having to run and leave the city, or you know, etc. There are all these depths to music, and they have been transformed into just the standard cookie cutter party. I always joke, beer truck bar breakup.
Yeah, country has those similar stereotypes.
Yes.
Where it's just like, this is the box that it's in. This is what we expect.
This is the.
It's
standard.
funny how business gets involved and it starts taking a turn. The money gets involved. The artists no longer really have control of the narrative. It's like there may still be this super conscious hip hop stuff being made. There is for sure, but
absolutely
the owners of the labels and whoever's in charge of what the public discover, I guess they don't want people to listen to that stuff. Maybe they found this is more profitable. Then you can even get into the other side of it, which is more like a conspiracy or nefarious, but where like people are pushing these certain agendas in hip hop.
Yeah.
It's like a pipeline from hip hop to prison, or you hear about these stories of the CIA infiltrating hip hop and pushing a certain agenda. And even in country music, I've heard before that like black people were around and making country music at the origins of it, but that you fast forward 2025 and it's like people are so wowed by a black person making country music. It's like it doesn't seem normal to them.
Right.
But, I mean, I guess at the origins that's what it was.
Absolutely. Black Americans were the foundational foundational to popular American music, because country music gets its root from blues. Country music gets its roots from spirituals and gospel. Like there's a lot of times you could go to an old school country radio station. My mom said that. She was like, I thought I was listening to the gospel station. It was a country station. And so it's interesting, but you could even say the same for country music when it comes to like pushing a narrative. Cause like I said, beer truck bar breakup, right? And when you go to Nashville, when you think of Nashville, the image that you get is Broadway. Right?
That's the street.
That's the street.
Yeah.
Is it Broadway? I hope I'm.
Is that what Morgan Wallen was like? Leaving Broadway, girl.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So you have the street. It's the lights, but it's all bars, and like it's just lined up of bars and people singing country music in bars. So if you talk about beer, right? I want you to go to the bar and drink your sorrows away, drink everything away, blah blah blah. But if you know the history of Nashville was leading in Black civil rights. Nashville is probably a black city, right? The Fisk Jubilee Singers, it is that era that gave Nashville the nickname Music City. It was the Fisk Jubilee Singers, right?
Is that like a group?
Black choir.
Okay.
Tennessee University, right? And like the sit-ins and all of these different things, like the history, if you go beyond Broadway, the history is so rich, but you would never know it. You would never know it.
So country music is missing this like spirituality element, gospel element that it had in the beginning.
I think all music is. I think I would definitely die on. Like my husband and I, we don't go to church anymore. That's a long story for another day.
Okay.
So we don't go to church anymore. But I will definitely die on the hill that the best music is laced with gospel. The best music is laced with that spiritual undertone.
It's crazy because I'm Muslim, but I've been listening to this song. It's like a Christian song. It's about Jesus and stuff, but it's so good. Have you heard, I think the band is called Hillsong United.
Yeah.
And the song is called, I think, Oceans.
Oh, yeah.
That song is really good. Yo, there's the live version on YouTube where you can hear like the audience singing too. It's so good. It's like transcendent.
But you know, a lot of American gospel also has threads of Islam influence because you got all the Africans that came from overseas and they were Christian, Muslim, right? Jewish, all these people that come from, so all of those influences are embedded in American music. You know what I mean? And so that spiritual lace to me is like chef's kiss. And it's like, as soon as I feel like the 90s was like the last of the Mohican, like just the last bit I could, I listened to a record by like Mariah Carey. And if she has a song that has a choir, she's going nuts. She is going nuts. But if you look at some of her work now, it's tailored. Of course, she has a record label, etc. So they're tailoring it to the radio stations that are today. But if you look at real Mariah Carey, like back in the day, going insane.
Did you see? I think she just did an interview. I want to say on Jimmy Kimmel, but she's releasing this project she made in the '90s that her label didn't let her drop at the time. It's like some punk rock shit.
Ooh.
You see that? It's her like on like some real rock and roll shit. Maybe you can find that.
I'm ready for it.
But it does seem like even outside of music, like our culture since the 90s, I would say I kind of agree with you. Like the 90s was kind of the last of that. It's like we're missing soul. It's like everything is just so like here today, gone tomorrow. Yeah. It's about the numbers. It's like microwavable content that could be entertaining in the moment, but like 5 minutes passes and you forget about it.
Yeah.
It's like, where did the soul go?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's funny you say that. I'm taking a business class, and that's where I was coming from every Wednesday. And they ask you, they challenge you to create your pitch. And your pitch is supposed to be like, what problem are you solving? Who are you solving it for? All of those different types of things. And so I literally put tonight, I asked the question, I said, are true music listeners missing the soul and the humanity from music? I literally wrote that tonight because I've been waiting to get those questions. I'm like, I need those so I could kind of work on my pitch. And I finally got a chance to type them out and start working on it tonight. And I really do believe that is the context of where we're living, like something quick, something TikTok that goes viral. And I feel like that's a gap that I'm trying to fill. Is leaving behind music. Bill Withers is one of my biggest inspirations.
Is he a country singer?
No, R&B soul. You might be familiar with some of his work, like lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. Maybe.
I'm not sure. But you sounded great singing it, though.
Thank you. Okay, I gotta find. But he's
this
one of
dude
those.
Right here.
Yeah,
okay.
There he is. What's a good?
Is he still alive?
Ain't no sunshine when he. No,
okay, I know that song. Ain't no sunshine.
Yes, that's him.
I know that. Yeah,
that's him. That's Bill Withers. So, and it's funny because Lovely Day. You probably know Love Me Day. You probably know Use Me.
Probably if I've heard them. I definitely know Ain't No Sunshine though.
Yeah, just the two of us. We can make it if we try. I talk to my students about it, and they're like, "No, I don't know Bill Withers." I'm like, he's one of those artists. His work somewhere. Somehow. And I just felt like he left behind music that could stand the test of time.
Do your the students you've taught, do they recognize the lack of soul or substance and stuff today? Like, do they, because I know I have a 19-year-old brother, he's 20 now.
Okay.
And even since he was like 16, 17, he was like, I saw him just listening to old school stuff.
Yeah.
And it seems like he gets that something is missing in the music today, but it's also one of those things like where if you never had something, you don't really know it's missing.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know if they can really decipher that.
Yeah. I'm trying to coach them in that space because there was even a point where I asked them like, hey, what's like, okay, so I'm the old one now, like I'm old. You guys got to catch me up. What are y'all listening to today? What's popular? And they're like, I don't know. Like they They could not name. I think it was another group. It was another workshop that I was doing, not at Yellow, but somewhere else.
They say, you want this wet ass. That should have hit me.
And I was like, they can't say that. But that's the thing. Like, these kids, like, as a parent, there is not a lot of music today that I can pass on to my kids because it's not appropriate.
Think about the throwbacks these kids have. In like 20 years, what are they going to be listening to for a throwback?
Right.
It's just
like you put on a throwback. You put on something from the 90s right now. It'll be jumping.
It still hits.
It still hits.
Doesn't hit, though.
But it doesn't. And I don't know if they're aware of that. And so, you know, I have a lot of fun with introducing them to some of the classics and some of the things that we grew up on. But you're right. It's almost kind of like, how do they know what's missing if they never experienced it to begin with?
So you have this panic attack in the classroom. You get wheelchaired out. Your husband was very supportive. That was a blessing. He's like, okay, let's figure out how we're going to do this. You guys get rid of the debt. You have a 5-year plan, which I guess you're at about the end of that 5-year plan.
Yeah.
So I guess in this 5 years, you've had enough success to where you're like, okay, let's give it another 5.
Yeah, absolutely.
You get the grant from that radio.
We get the grant from the radio.
Where we at now with it?
I make an EP. I do it at my home studio, and I do my best with producing, and that was another thing. Like I definitely suffer from imposter syndrome because my engineer had to tell me that I was a producer. I was like, I think I need to get a producer. He's like, you're doing a pretty good job. So,
do you produce all your stuff?
Yeah.
So your whole album, you made all the music too?
Yes.
Okay.
I worked with a couple of co-producers. I'll shout them out when we get to the album, but I'm the executive producer of all of my work. And so, you know, I have some songs already, you know, especially as a country artist, you can do a few acoustic things here. Like, you don't need a lot. All you need is a guitar, maybe some slide, or maybe like, you know, I didn't need a lot to create something. So I just wanted to have a product. Things were taking off with the Black Opry, which is a collective of Black artists that do country, folk, Americana. And it just started off, it was supposed to just be a blog. And then it just grew legs and started running like in 2021, 2022. Like it was just like take off. And so with all those things happening, I was like, well, I know I want to have a product, something that people can reference, something that I can start building my catalog on. So that's 2021. 2022, we start touring. So with the Black Opry, we're up and down the East Coast. City Winery was a wonderful venue that supported the Black Opry, and we got all these different bookings. I performed at Dollywood for the first time, and they became like one of the first venues to really like believe in me, and they start having me back every single year. And
where's that venue at?
That's in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee.
Okay.
So about 7-8 hours from
Is
here.
that, you said Black Opry?
The Black Opry.
Are they all from 757?
No, that's nation worldwide now. Yeah.
Okay.
Just a collective of Black artists that pretty much do anything that's outside the box, outside of the labels that they think we should be in. Like, you know, I'm sure we all could see that they think you're either R&B or hip hop, you know what I mean? And it's like, well, no, I do rock and roll, or no, I do folk, playing the banjo, etc. And so it became a collective, and things just started to kind of generate. And 2022, a friend of mine, Heather May she's based in Nashville. She told me, she was like, hey, looking at everything, I think you need to start working towards your first album. And I didn't know if I had enough weight to pull on that. I didn't know if I had enough support. And so we teamed up, and she said, I'll help you with your Kickstarter. And she said, we'll put a Kickstarter together and raise enough money for your album. So I was scared because now you got to really ask people for money. Like, it's different to sit there and sell something and say, hey, I have the CD, it's $10. But when you sit there like, hey, I need 18 grand, it's awkward. And
you needed 18 grand to do the album? Yeah. Is that to pay the studio or what's
studio time, production, the musicians that you bring in, hire, getting the CDs pressed, all of that.
Oh, so you made physical copies too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Surprisingly, CDs are my most popular merch item.
That's fire.
And nobody owns a CD player.
It's just a little collectible piece.
Yeah.
They buy the CD and then just go stream it on Spotify.
Yeah. Yeah, and then go stream with artists.
A lot of artists right now are kind of walking away from these distribution platforms and only selling their stuff directly to their fans.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's like a new
This is a new thing.
New thing that's happening right now.
And I'm kind of curious. I have some ideas on the next projects to roll out, where if you just upload maybe one or two and use those platforms as samples, and say, well, if you want it, here's the vinyl, or here's the CD, or you can purchase it from somewhere like Bandcamp.
Yeah, Bandcamp, or here's like a little flash drive,
or flash drive or something.
Yeah. So this friend helps you put together the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
You guys raised 18 grand.
We raised 22.
Okay.
22 grand, and it was just insane to see the community support. I'll never forget one of the challenges that she had me do, because she has, shout out to Heather May. If you are in Nashville or you're an artist that you want someone to work with you on like coaching and kind of, Heather May is doing her thing right now. I saw an email from her today that she's getting back into it, so I'll holler at that. But she gave me a challenge. She said, okay, on today's, you have 21 days for this Kickstarter. She said, okay, on this day, you're going to reach out to your champions. These are people who are a few steps ahead of you, right? Who have influence, who are doing big things. And you're going to ask them if they can share your Kickstarter. And so folks like Reese Palmer, folks like Ron Pope, Allison Russell, Cam Franklin, etc. These are friends, folks who have kind of take you under their wing or are always there if you need to call or anything like that. And so I reached out to all these people, and I reached out to Allison Russell, who at the time she was starting to explode. She had released a record called Outside Child, and it was just all the things. And she was doing incredible work in the Americana space. And so she's on the climb. I reached out to her and said, hey, I'm doing this Kickstarter, if you don't mind sharing. And she was just like, I love this so much, because like our first project was Kickstarter. So she's like, I get it. Well, she sends it to Brandy Carlisle. I don't know if you know who Brandy Carlisle is, but I was ugly crying when I saw Brandy Carlisle share my Kickstarter on her Instagram page. Brandy Carlisle is your musician's favorite musician.
Her right there?
Yeah.
I'm not hip. You're naming a lot of people I've never heard of.
Okay, but you know Elton John.
Yes.
So she just did a project with Elton John.
Okay. Is she's a producer?
Yeah, she's an artist, producer.
Okay.
All the things.
All the things.
Yeah, all the things. She works with Joni Mitchell. Like your legends love Brandy Carlisle.
And she also shared your Kickstarter.
She shared my Kickstarter to her Instagram page, and that put us over the top. And
that's got to be a great feeling.
A very, very good
before you even make the album.
Yeah, because people believe in you. People believe you. They trust you. You know?
Elton John. Is that some of her work?
What do you got? What we got over here? By the way, I forgive you. And the joke was the joke is in one of her biggest records.
So now it's like, okay, so now the pressure's on. Like, I have to make this album.
Yeah.
And it has to be great.
It has to be great. Absolutely. But I knew my song. I've always known my songs were great. I always knew that, because that's the feedback I would get from people. They were always catchy. They always had depth, but were always fun. And so I knew my songs were great. I just didn't have the resources to make them. And then I did, you know, and getting the grant from Color Me Country and producing Just a Taste was like, no pun intended, but like a taste tester of like, this is what I can do when you give me money. When you support my work, this is what I can do out of it. So all I had was $1,000, and I made something out of that $1,000. And so I felt like people trusted that. And when we got that $22K, I went straight to work, went straight to the studio, Soul Haven Studios over in Virginia Beach. Shout out to my engineer, Johnny. I started working with Larry Burwald, who is a musician here in the area. He's a legend in and of himself in this area. And I definitely wanted to make sure I had a healthy perspective on country music, because I knew what I could do with a section, with a rhythm section, which is just your drums, your bass, your keyboard, right? And a guitar maybe. But there are so many other elements to country music, like maybe a mandolin or a slide and things of that nature that I wanted to have someone who had a little bit more expertise on. And so I partnered with Larry Burwell. He helped me with a couple of songs on the record. Also did Girl Trip with Calvin Mirage, who is a friend and producer in the area. And we'd done a couple things before. And so it was just a community effort, like just a team effort. We all just kind of put our heads together. The musicians from my band are on like Stronger This Time, and Papa Was a Rolling Stone. Yeah, we just made it happen. And I had the vision. Like, I know what I want things to sound like. I know what sounds good. And we did it.
How long did it take you to like make the album once you got that 22 grand?
A year. Yeah. The Kickstarter ended like October of 2022, and we released the record September of 2023. Mm-hmm.
You released a record.
Yeah.
Are any of these people like that were sharing your Kickstarter? Are they reaching back out? Like, oh, I heard the record. Proud of you.
Yeah. So on Kickstarter, you can create tiers. So you tell people, hey, if you give $20, then you'll get a signed CD. If you give $40 or $50, then you'll get a signed CD and a private listening party. If you give $100, you get a signed CD, a private listening party, and this, right? So you create these tiers, and the more people give, then there's more rewards that they get. So once we get the album, we ship out all the rewards. Which was interesting to learn how to create a whole system of having to, you got to print these addresses, make sure it gets shipped to the right person. You got a t-shirt over here. You're selling your merch. And so all of those things. So shout out to my husband, who was right there with me, helping me to package everything and ship them off. And so, yeah.
Did you do the private listening party?
Yeah, we did the listening party at All Good Granola. Shout out to our friends over there in Virginia Beach. We did a little listening party. It was new business. And so we were like, hey, let's collaborate. So I just put a little sound system up there. Our friend Brian, they own All Good Granola, and everyone just popped up in there and let my friends and those who supported the record come and get a good listen on it. So,
So you dropped the record. Now it's time to push it.
Yeah.
What was that process like? When it dropped, did it originally drop just like on the CD for the people that were on the Kickstarter, or did it go straight to all platforms?
It went straight to all platforms. And then we went on a coast to coast tour. So, New York, shout out to Joe's Pub. It's one of my favorite venues, and I still can't believe that they like me. So they support me because Joe's Pub is so legendary. But yeah, from New York to California. We were on tour.
So that was your first tour?
Not my... Yes. I'm going to say yes. Because remember, I was touring with the Black Opry. But yeah, the process of I produced and created a record, and I'm promoting it as an independent artist, and we're on tour, yeah. I'd say that.
And I guess when you perform like on these tours, is it typically just you with like your guitar, or are you having a band with you, or what are you doing as far as the performances?
It varies, yeah, for sure. It varies. Like there's been a couple times when, like, for example, Dollywood, I like the process of how I ended up connecting with Dollywood because it kind of explains how everywhere else has worked. But Dollywood, the first time I performed there was with the Black Opry. So I was on tour with the Black Opry, perform at Dollywood. The buyer at Dollywood sees the performance. They're like, hey, how about you come back and do an acoustic set? So I go back and do an acoustic set, have a good time, do a good job. They're like, hey, we want to bring you back next year with your band. And so it seems like there's a nice flow. Same thing happened with Joe's Pub. Did a show with Joe's Pub, with Black Opry. They brought me back with, just acoustic. They're like, hey, come back with your band. And so a lot of venues have been very supportive in that. And I'm so grateful for that because it is very difficult for independent artists to get in these spaces. And just to be a venue that has patience for growth was really, really eye-opening for me. And I really wish we had, more venues like that. Because I can remember, like, Joe's Pub, like, when I went back for my acoustic set, I saw maybe, like, I had 40 people come out. So it was good. It was comfy.
In New York, though?
in New York.
Yeah.
Because New York is competitive, right? So it was a comfy draw. And I felt good about it. So when they asked us to come back with my full band, I'm like, oh my gosh, we're going to kill it. And I'm going to do flyers and I'm going to promote it. And the acoustic one, they had me on a Sunday night. This one, they put me on a Friday night at 9. So I'm like, they really believe in me.
That's prime time.
Because that's prime time.
Yeah.
That's prime time slot. But because it's prime time, it was all the more competitive, and therefore all the less people that came, maybe like 10, 12.
You think it'd be more people on a Friday?
Yeah. You think. I thought. And so that was a bummer. That hurt. Like I was truly hurt by that. But the email correspondence afterwards, I always try to remember to thank the venues and, build, I, of course, have this rapport with them a little bit more now. And they're like, we love you. They're like, we love you. So great. Awesome.
Like, Joe, why don't you put some more flyers up in the freaking city, bro?
No. Like, I was putting flyers out. Again, it's prime time.
You went around New York putting up flyers?
I had a friend of mine doing that for me. Yeah. But, it's competitive. And there's probably a couple things on my end that I could have learned with coming,
Yeah, in New York, there's probably like 20 other shows they can go to that night.
Broadway is up the street. Like, you're competing, So if you don't have a name running for you, right, that, But that's besides the point. The point is that Joe's Pub believed in me. They're like, we're rooting for you. We love you.
That's fire. So this is now 2 years after you dropped this album. You dropped the deluxe.
2023 to 2024, we're touring and all that. Yep.
You dropped the deluxe. Mm-hmm. It sounds like all throughout your journey, you've had these people kind of believe in you, which I always say that's people always want to expect to get put on by somebody. Like, yo, put me in position. But sometimes that's not really what you need. All you need is sometimes like some words of encouragement. Yeah. Like, I believe in you. And that will give you the energy to keep going for like a few more years. Yeah. When that certain person that you aspire or like you look up to or whatever, you like their stuff. Before we get into your tour that's coming up in October, I saw that you won a couple awards recently. Yeah. You won one, actually, I don't know what you won because I couldn't see it in the description, but you won an award at the Capitol Emmys. And you won Best Country Veer Music Award for your song Dinner Sunset Nina Simone. Yeah. Which award was the one that you won at the Capitol Emmys?
So shout out to Kenny Hopkins, who's the producer at WHRO. And we...
which, by the way, I think it got shut down. Was it WHRO or was it PBS as a whole?
Or is it MP? Lord, who knows?
I think it was
hard to keep
up. Is it PBS? Because I think NPR is, not to cut this story off, but I think NPR is underneath WHRO or PBS, and that got funding taken away. PBS is the main one. So I think PBS got defunded. So, like, all of that's gone now. Because I think Trump said it was too political, which I don't know, but yeah. My bad.
Yeah. This is, yeah.
That's a whole nother story.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story. But yeah. But yes, so as you can imagine, like, I mean, even thinking about that though, my story was nominated and was part of a series that won an Emmy. That's game changing for me. So now what's going to happen if they don't have funding to do projects like that?
You might be the last one.
I hope not.
Wait, so what do you mean by it was part of a story that?
So it's called Curate. WHRO's Curate, and they interview and do stories on creators and folks in the Hampton Roads area. So business owners or, a musician or an artist or whatever. So they'll do these different episodes and they're called Curate. So I'm episode 8. And so Kenny and I, we met at the Mighty Dream Festival back in 2022, I think.
I remember. I was there. The one that Pharrell did at Assembly.
Yes. Yeah. So we met there, and I saw they were talking about a work that they were doing, a documentary they were doing for Swamp Dogg, who is a country legend, black country legend from Portsmouth, country or R&B soul. And so they were doing a documentary on him. So I introduced myself to him afterwards and said, hey, I'm in this country music space. I would love to support like what you got going on with Swamp Dogg. And we're kind of going back and forth. So he decides that he wants to do a curate episode on my story. And so for a couple of months, this camera crew is following me around to the workshops that I'm doing with kids or to like a show. They met me down in Nashville when I was doing a show at the basement. Like it was kind of surreal, but they just following me along and I could tell my story. And so he submitted it for the Emmys, short form and long form. So short form was just mine, and then long form was mine and like two others, like a whole series package. And so the long form won. And so that's Kenny's win right there. But I got to be a part of that, and I was very grateful that he saw my story was worthy enough to be told.
And that was for the Capitol Emmys.
That was for the Capitol Emmys.
What was that actual award called?
Entertainment.
Like something like best series,
like best
or
performance,
like
entertainment, or some. It was in the entertainment category. I'm sorry, I don't have the.
Okay.
Official
What about
name.
the other one, the Best Country Veer Music Award?
Yeah. Shout out to Veer.
That was
Shout out
actually
to
for your song.
Yes.
And I think I saw your you made a video on Instagram. You were like, "Not I won on the same day Beyonce won." I think the Grammy or something.
Yeah, because Beyonce won that that Best Country Grammy, and yeah. So we won on the same night. So shout out to Veer. Shout out to Jeff.
Also, I think on that side note, on that album that Beyonce won that for, I think Shabuzi wrote on that.
Yeah. He's
from
featured
Virginia?
in two.
Yeah.
He's featured on 2 tracks. Yeah, from Northern
You
Virginia.
were speaking about Nashville a few times. From what I hear, they love Shabuzi out there.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But he does make like the bar songs though. His
He
song is actually
makes
called a bar song.
Yeah.
his breakout hit. Shout out to Shabuzi.
It's true. But I love Shabuzi. Like his other piece, I love his work.
Yeah.
His album, his record is really dope. But again, that kind of shows you like why, like if you listen to some of his other tracks, I wish I could come up with some of their names, but I was running it for a hot minute. If you listen to some of his other tracks, it's just like so much depth and so beautiful. And it's like, why is the bar song the one that? But that goes to show you, like, that's just how the industry works. You know what I mean? Because his other records are phenomenal. Those other tracks are phenomenal.
Well, I think the bar song worked because it had a certain familiarity.
Yeah.
With I forgot what the original song is on now.
Yeah,
Like 1
Tipsy.
to the 2. Yeah, Tipsy. Mm-hmm. So that is that.
Yeah, that crossover.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you I remember if you go to a honky tonk or a country bar and they close down, what are they playing? They're playing hip hop. When they're closing down and lights are out, like, and they're cleaning up, it's hip hop on the in the air, you know. So it makes sense that there's that crossover. I love being genre fluid myself. I don't think anyone is genre specific. I think the industry is genre specific because they need to sell, they need to market and all of that. But I don't think any genuine artist is like would keep themselves in a box. If you listen to a lot of country music, you can hear them leaning into R&B. You can hear how it leans into pop. You can hear how it leans into gospel. And now you can see it leaning into hip hop. What's the problem?
I guess having a bit of structure in the space, like with genres and different stuff, it can make it more digestible for people, maybe in a way. So you win this award for your song at the Veer Music Awards.
Yeah.
Is that in LA?
No, that's here in VA.
Okay.
Yeah. So Veer magazine is a music magazine right here, and I was fortunate to grace the cover last year, and they just it kind of just goes through the different happenings, the different venues, festivals, etc. You know, and they really do support. They have a playlist, and they nominate artists, you know, every year for their work. So I've won a total of 3 awards with them so far. So Best Country, Best Pop, and Song of the Year in 2022. Yeah.
What's your husband say? Like looking back at since you quit your job, since you guys started on this journey, like what are his thoughts on this so far?
I think he's proud of me.
Yeah.
Yeah. He says that very often. He'll send me like little memes on Instagram and stuff. Send this to a woman you're proud of. So he's definitely proud of me. It's definitely taken a lot of adjusting and shifting because we have 2 little ones, right? And they have their things going on. It's having a schedule that's mainly on weekends, like having to tour and do those things that are mainly on weekends versus your typical 9 to 5. It takes some adjusting, it takes some work. They come along with us. We just had a show over in Williamsburg and I put them to work. They, do the merch table or something, help me out with one of those things and I'll pay them.
How old are your kids?
11 and 9.
Okay.
So it's a family affair, but we try to put in for one another. Like no matter who's got something going on, we try to show up. But it can be taxing. A lot of the traveling, a lot of the networking, a lot of the moving and shaking is you gotta find a balance to that for sure.
I think that's a great point. Like finding that balance is like being an adult. I don't want to ask you how old you are. I feel like that's rude, but being a parent, being an adult, and having real life, but also trying to make your dreams come true and follow your passions. Like I feel like I'm 30. I just turned 30 in September. So I feel like when I was,
I said, welcome to the club.
Oh yeah. So it's like I feel like when I was in high school, it felt like creativity was this thing where if you don't make it happen by the end of high school, like it's over for you. And we went through this era for the last like 15 years where everybody that was blowing up, especially musically, was kids, like teenagers.
Yeah.
And we spoke about that thing last episode too, but I forgot who said it, but somebody was like, we're heading towards an era of the return of middle-aged superstars.
Yeah.
Because that's how it was in like the 70s and 80s and 90s. Like all these people were like late 20s, 30s, 40, like.
Yeah.
And I think we're getting back to that in a way. And I don't know. And I think also from a business, because I know people want to promote stuff to kids because I think it's easy to get kids hooked on stuff. But I think even from a business standpoint, it's getting to the point where it's probably smarter to promote your stuff to people middle age because that's the biggest generation. Yeah. Like people are having kids less. I think 30 to 40 is probably the biggest population. I might be wrong about that in America. Look up that. Actually, look up what's the biggest demographic age range in America. So even from like a business standpoint, I think that would make sense.
And they're the ones who have money.
They're the ones that have money.
Yeah.
Kids can, mom, buy this for me or something like.
Right.
They're also the ones that will have longer careers if you're like a label exec and like, yo, should I hire this 16-year-old that doesn't really know what he's doing? He has a hit right now. He may or may not be popular a year from now. He doesn't really even know himself yet. He might outgrow this phase. Or it's like, should I take a chance on this person who's 30 or 35 that's actually really talented? They kind of know who they are. They figured out how to package themselves and are more mature and are capable of having like a career and building a business out of this.
Longevity.
Largest age group by specific age range, 31 to 40.
Yep.
Okay, so I kind of guessed on that, but I guess I'm right.
Yeah.
The baby boomer generation was born in 46, 64 is aging and their numbers are declining. This means that more than half of the entire U.S. population is now under the age of 40.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
That is wild. Yeah. But yes, you would think that that's the way labels think, but I
they just want a bag.
They want a bag. And music is the music that these young kids will record are assets. And so you don't want a person who understands the value of assets. So they prefer people that
don't understand
younger.
the business.
They don't understand the business. I had a record label inquire of me, and they gave me a 360 deal. So, contract about that thick. Best believe I read it, and they're not used to that. They're not used to people who read contracts. I had my highlighter. And I'm like, what does this mean? And I don't understand that. And like, no, I want to change this. Like, I don't want you to have my stuff in perpetuity. A 19-year-old may not know, and that it's not to be ageist or anything, but legal terms that are written in those contracts are not common.
We've heard we've heard like that saying like how 360 deals are the worst deals you can get.
Absolutely.
I guess I really don't know what that entails. Like, I know it's a thick contract, but what's like the gist of it? Like, they get a certain percentage, you get this. Like, how does that work?
So let's take it to like a legend like Whitney Houston when she blew up in the 80s. she gets a record deal. A record deal is essentially a loan. So they bet on Whitney Houston. They say, we're going to give you the money to get your music recorded, get it all taken care of, and then we will also give you the money to promote it. And then we're all supposed to get a return on that, a certain percentage. We own a certain percentage of your album, right? Until you pay all of that money back.
That sounds fair so far.
That sounds fair so far, right? So that's between Whitney Houston and the record label. But if a makeup company comes and says, man, Whitney Houston's music was blowing up on the charts, we want to get her on this commercial, or we want to put her in this movie, like The Bodyguard, she would get a check from the movie, right? And she would get a check from the commercial. And then if somebody wanted her to model their clothes, she would get a check from them. Record label only touches the money that the music makes. Mm-hmm. A 360 deal would say, well, we'll give you the money to make the music, but if this music blows up and you get a deal with a movie, we get a percentage of that too.
They want a piece of any money you make.
Everything.
Okay.
If you get a deal with this clothing company, we want a percentage of that too.
Well, if you don't mind me asking, what was the percentage for the one they offered you?
I don't remember.
But that was the make or break.
But
thing,
that was the make or break. They didn't have all the numbers in that because I asked them for I'm like, give me your standard contract. Let me see what you guys are talking about. So there were no definitive numbers, but they weren't coming up. They weren't coming up with enough for me to sign.
Well, I'll be honest. Sure. That if depending on how much the advance is and the percentage, I wouldn't want them to make more than me. Mm-hmm. But let's say a label hires me and they make me a superstar with the money they put behind marketing for me. Mm-hmm. I would probably be okay with them taking a piece of everything. Yeah. If it's less than me, we agree on the percentage, but also not forever though. Yeah,
and sometimes 50% of something is better than 100% of nothing.
Yeah.
So there could be.
It could make sense still.
It could.
But I think that forever is where it gets crazy.
That's where you start to. That's where you have to kind of zero in and magnify. Okay, for how long is this just the initial rollout after that album? But once that is done and I move on, you don't get any, it's all of those particulars that you really have to advocate for yourself. And I think that a lot of places in the industry do not prefer people who advocate for themselves.
Yeah, I've heard somebody, I forgot who was talking about it, but they were the language they use in some of these contracts is they'll say in other dimensions or other even if you die and
in the universe and beyond.
Yeah, it's universal language where even if you wake up in another galaxy or some shit we still own
what you did. It is
so
weird. I mean, and if you think about it, you want to protect your assets, right? You want to protect your investment. So that's what they're doing. And so it's not necessarily evil in and of itself, but it is a loan. And most people don't know that is how you look at a record label. They are loaning you money. They expect that money to be paid back plus interest.
A lot of labels get flack a lot of times for stuff like this. And I agree. I don't think the label should make more than the artist. They are the people. Mm-hmm. I'm creating the product. You are the product, mm-hmm. right? So I think the artist should always get the upper hand. Mm-hmm. But where I think labels get a lot of flack, and I think they do a great job at, mm-hmm. is taking your buzz right now and making it matter in 20 years. Yeah. Helping you with longevity, really building a structure around what you do. Yeah. I think they do a great job at that, and they should be compensated for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But now, don't take advantage of people. There's there's a balance there. We can both win.
I think that there is something to be said about moving from ownership to partnership. Mm-hmm. Previously, the music industry was about ownership. I own you. I own the masters. I own this. I own that. Whereas if you have a label, it's okay, you have an artist. Let's say, I'm an independent artist. I have a product, right? And I go to the label and I say, hey, this product did really well. I already did it though. If you wanted to partner with me on giving it the boost that it needs, then we should have our shares. Each one of us should have our share of I invested in the product already, you're invested in the marketing, and then we have an agreement as to who gets what. And those things can be very simple. And there are lots of great labels out there, I'm sure. You know, I have a few friends who are in different labels and they're doing great things. And so it's a shame that these systems get that blanket of being predatory, because there are a lot of labels, lots of independent labels that do right by their artists. But it is important for people to be aware of how these things operate and how they work.
So you didn't sign a 360?
I did not.
Did you rip it up?
I didn't rip it. I wasn't dramatic enough. I should have
put it in a paper shredder.
Ran into the office.
One sheet at a time and send them a video of it. Okay, so you have this tour coming up. Too Much of a Woman, the exhibition. I believe most of it's in Virginia, and you have a show in North Carolina, and Durham, North Carolina. I think it's 8 stops on the tour. Tell us about what's the preparation been like for this tour? Will you have a band with you? Like, what's just some stuff about this tour?
Man, it's really exciting because this tour feels like it's kind of one of that, a little bit on the coming down the hill. Like we said, we talked earlier, I'm giving it 5 years. Let's see we're at the end of this 5 years. And I feel like this is a great time for me to stop and recalibrate. And so most of the tour is acoustic. My band's hanging out with me at the Arts and Sculpture Festival in Newport News. But for the most part, it's acoustic. And I feel like I'm kind of just wheeling things down a little bit because there are aspects of my business that I need to update and upgrade and grow, if that makes sense. And so as far as preparing for the tour, really just making sure that we were ready to hit the ground running with the new songs that I incorporated onto the record, and just being, marketing. Like you said, it's hard for us to put ourselves out there sometimes. So being a little bit more intentional about marketing.
Not to cut you off, Karen, I sent you the tour flyer on Instagram, I think. You can pull it up.
Cool. Yeah. So that's really just trying to push, get these tickets done. I got Charlottesville.
Yeah, I see you're going to be at pretty much every stop is at like local museums and like art spaces in these different cities.
Yeah.
I don't know, you might have already thought about it, but a great idea that I've seen for getting the word out is to make Eventbrites for all your shows. Because now if somebody's just in the city, like let's say I'm in Newport News, I might type in on Eventbrite fun things to do in Newport News.
Okay.
And then I just randomly see your tour, like, oh, what's this? Like, I might go to it.
I haven't thought about Eventbrite because I thought that it would take away from the ticket sites, like wherever they're selling tickets. Because
are those places all individually selling them?
They sell them individually. But yeah, I think it's something to look into, especially if I have the option to put the ticket link. But yeah, it's definitely not hard, but tedious work when it comes to promoting and marketing yourself.
Yeah. So like as an independent creative, really whatever you do, you're wearing like 10 hats. Yeah. Like even from this podcast, there's so many things that we do, just us two, that it could probably be like a 10-person team doing this stuff. But that's part of it. Yeah. It's
part of it. Yeah.
You've been rehearsing a lot for it?
Not as much as I probably should. If I can be honest. I think I've been so the kiddos started school, and then starting classes myself, doing workshops. One of the things that I do enjoy is that I get to intersect my previous teaching experience with music. So just as much as I go on tour, I also do workshops, residencies, different programmings that I can offer to the community that I have to prepare for too. And so as a creator, sometimes I'll put a little bit too much on my plate, and it makes it a little difficult for me to do something that I love, and that's as simple as picking up the guitar. But I do feel prepared for them because I've been working at this for a while now. So I feel prepared, but I would like to get my studio together, have official band rehearsals, and like really what I'm hoping this season leads me to is leveling up my performance. So
I guess this is kind of the final leg for like pushing this album that you made in 2023.
Yeah, because I'm trying to extend the life of it as long as I can. And I feel like as an independent artist, Like without the budget for marketing and promotion and all the things that we see bigger artists do, you kind of need to give yourself a little bit more time to really let people chew on your work. There are some people that or that are friends that still haven't heard the whole album yet, or that saw me for the first time perform at the Norva, and I've known them for a really long time. So it kind of just goes to show you that there's still a lot more space to really kind of work with a record or a project that you're doing, that you don't have to rush it off and go start a new one.
For sure.
And so
there's billions of people out here.
Yeah.
People will drop something and push it for like a week to the people in their area.
Yeah.
And then like kind of go to the next thing. But like that could have been your breakout hit. Mm-hmm. You might have just had to push it for a little bit longer.
You gotta push it. Lizzo's breakout was 2 years after she released it.
Which song was that?
Truth Hurts.
Okay.
Yeah. She had released it 2 years prior, and then suddenly it took off, and So
the first date is in Charlottesville. Zoom in on those dates a little bit, Karen.
Yeah, Charlottesville.
October 10th
Porch.
at the Front Porch, Charlottesville. Then you're in Newport News. I actually never even heard of Reedville,
That's in the
VA.
northern neck
That's the country?
of Virginia. It's on the Chesapeake Bay.
Okay.
You ever see on a map like the Chesapeake Bay or the river, and then it flows out into the ocean?
I don't know right now, but
yeah, it's like
now every time I hear Chesapeake Bay, I think of I did an episode with Young Crazy and Ben Hunt and Izzy a couple weeks ago, and we were talking because Ben Hunt and Izzy is from Baltimore, and then he was talking about how they're like the seafood capital of America. And I was like, wait, is Baltimore on the coast? He was like, nah, we're right by the Chesapeake Bay. And then Young Crazy was like, the Chesapeake Bay touch us too, though. No Diddy.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. I was just like, what?
Come on, man.
Wait, where's it at on this map right here? Here, he pulled out the map.
Okay,
I see it, Reedville.
Yeah. So this big body of water right there. We have the Atlantic Ocean right there, but all of that, yeah, that's Chesapeake Bay.
That's not too far from us, I guess.
So there's Reedville. Reedville, like from here, is probably just an hour. Newport News.
Probably a little further. It's probably like 2 maybe, because Richmond. It looks like further than Richmond.
It's 2 for me, so it's like an hour and a half from y'all probably.
Okay.
Yeah. But if you keep going up, then yeah, it does get to Maryland.
I think right on the coast though.
Yeah. Chesapeake Bay. And I think does it turn to the Potomac River? Yeah, there's the Potomac. So the Potomac is where DC and all that is. There's Fredericksburg. And then on the right side of the screen is where we get to Delaware. So that's the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel.
Okay.
That you could take north if you want to get to like Delaware and Philly and all that. Yeah, 13. Mm-hmm. You ever seen it? Have you ever been to Vaw Beach and seen the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel?
The underwater tunnel?
Yeah, the one that like is really long. It's like you go underwater like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah,
or something
we have 2 of them. So we have 2 underwater tunnels in this area, which
Yeah.
But I think we don't really think about it because we're from here. But I think that's like kind of rare. I don't know if that's like
3.
Is it 3?
4. We have 4 underwater tunnels.
What's the other 2? I know the Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel.
We got the Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel, the Monitor Merrimack, Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel, and the Portsmouth Tunnel.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That's 4.
I don't know if they have those like that in America. I think that's kind of rare.
No, that's why because we're the Navy base.
Yeah,
so
the ships can go.
Yeah, we don't have time for these bridges to be going up and down. Like you need them to keep going.
Yeah, what was that place? There was I think it was Jeff Bezos. He like built this big ass ship for, like it was like a private yacht. It was like some yacht, and it was so big that they had to dismantle this bridge that was in that area just for him to get his ship out of the port, and then they rebuilt it for him. That's
annoying.
That's a different level of money.
That is a different level of money, and that is an annoying level of money.
If you live in that area, you gotta just go around. For
how about you just build it?
I'm like, bro, why don't you just build it in?
I'm like, I'm not trying to be a hater, but for real, like, come on.
Jeff Bezos' super yacht required the dismantling of the central section of Rotterdam's, I can't even say, Koningshaven Bridge. Where is that though?
So it could pass to sea.
Does it say the state or city it's in?
Bezos paying for the temporary removal and reassembly.
He better pay for the shit. If he made the taxpayers pay for it, that would be even crazier.
Yeah, but due to it's a historic. Oh, that's just annoying. That is unnecessary. That is an unnecessary level of wealth there. Like for real.
That's it?
Yeah, and he couldn't even get past that.
It was bigger than that, or is that the rebuilt one? Oh wait, it says it will not be dismantled for Jeff Bezos' super yacht.
Oh, good.
Oh wait, I thought it already happened.
Oh gosh.
Okay, see, this is weird.
freaking-
See, this is one of those things where a story comes out and it just sounds enticing, and then like, but it's a lie, and then the truth is like find out, but like nobody ever finds out about the truth.
Yeah.
'Cause
But
lies
I
more
don't know, the
interesting.
audacity of just asking to do
Even
that to
asking it is
begin
crazy,
with,
yeah.
like for real. Like
You guys mind if we
can we just disassemble this bridge real quick?
What was that other? There's another bridge that like just collapsed. Remember that?
Yeah.
That wasn't too
Up
long
in
ago.
Baltimore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So wait, where's the go back to the flyer, bro? And then the tour ends. I want to say back in Newport News, right? Was that the last stop?
Portsmouth,
Is it Portsmouth?
I think.
Last stop is on. Oh no, it's North Carolina.
North Carolina
is the last stop.
Bruno, with my friends, Suge Daniels from Philly, and Akisa J. I'll be doing that show with them, so I'm excited for that.
Oh, you'll be at the High Street Festival in Portsmouth.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I'm gonna be at that.
Oh, that's what's up.
Come on, Hermitage. We actually had Andrew up here from the Hermitage. I don't know if you know him.
Yeah, shout out Andrew. Yeah,
His
he's
last
awesome.
name now.
Yeah.
We had a great episode though.
That's
It's like
awesome.
2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Come on, all these tickets are available now.
Yes.
And is there like a link and there's like one link
Yeah,
you can go to and find all of them?
Yeah, people will be able to find my shows on bands in town,
Okay.
and it'll pop up with all that. So yeah.
Roberta Lea, thank you very much. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on or leave the people with? There's a few things we didn't get to. Maybe we can save that for the next one.
Okay.
You're also like an author and a playwright and
Yeah,
other
we'll
stuff.
definitely have to do a next one for the play that I'm working on. Yeah, we'll have to do that.
okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. This is dope.
Come on.